In this edition of Art Rocks, an artist draws upon the heritage and the beauty of her native country.
You are on your own journey. No matter how much people try to help you, how much people around you, journey never finished.
We meet a musician who bridges science and sound.
I started to think about my sound and how I wanted to be different.
An architect who constructs beautiful homes at affordable prices.
The idea for these homes are to be very open, very flexible, incredibly functional.
And a visually impaired photographer has found a new way to look at light.
It's just liberating for me in terms of being creative.
It's all ahead on this edition of Art Rocks.
Art Rocks is made possible by the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting and by viewers like you.
Hello, I'm James Fox Smith, publisher of Country Roads magazine, and this is Art Rocks. To begin our program, we'll meet award-winning muralist and painter Geeta Dave, whose talent goes beyond her artwork and into the community she now calls home.
I'm a teacher and also I'm a professional artist, and I'm working with lots of community involvement project with my student, because I wanted to teach my student that it is very important to be a part of community, and when you give it to the community, it becomes permanent. After many years, when you come and visit it, it's always enjoyable. You bring your children to that. I started working with the Gifted and Talented program. This is a great opportunity for the student who is extremely talented in art, and that gives me the great challenge to teach them. I take it as a challenge to bring it out as much as I can from them and give it to the community. Almost every other year we have a large amount of community project we do. Students' works are everywhere, and wherever they go, they feel proud of it. I'm born in a family. My father, who is an artist, so since I was young, I was working with him all the time. And being a third child, always I got more attention because I knew me better than other siblings. So I worked with him, and then that is the way I developed my interests day by day. And I really wanted to be like him, to be an artist.
Dave went on to receive her master's degree in India, where she began teaching and working with murals. She married and at 27 moved to America without knowing any English.
I like challenge in my life, and I like adventure in my life.
Dave brings memories of a rich cultural heritage to her paintings.
Inside me, the Indian traditional art never dies, so I always try to include the combination of touch of, or unconsciously, the style of Indian art. That is who I am, and that's a representation of me.
There are symbolic meanings for animals in her artwork. The snake is a favorite figure that represents rebirth, new beginnings, and desire. But Dave expresses an aspect of Indian culture in the deep spiritual connection she feels with birds and animals, where people exist in harmony with nature in a man-made world that parallels the natural beauty and diversity of life on the planet. This painting came in response to the plight of dwindling animal populations.
2 endangered species, and it's vanishing. And that was the reason I painted that. It was a strong statement I wanted to put it through the painting, and that is the why I painted that both of them going in an opposite direction. It was my expression to the vanishing life.
The BP oil spill that released 200 million gallons of oil along the Gulf Coast prompted this response from Dave. An estimated 6,000 sea turtles were casualties of the massive spill.
Sometimes these big corporate companies, they don't see how much harm they are doing to the nature or the environment people are living in. And I was watching on TV that it's like a pure black oil on these animals, and some of them are like in danger. So that is the expression I came to that there is a few survivor left. No matter how much you do, its damage is done, and that is the darkness inside you feel, and sadness inside you feel. That is the reflection of my painting.
Now that her 2 children are grown, Dave is able to devote more time to her painting.
I decided to start a series of painting which called Unknown Journey. There is lots animals, birds, which is symbolize the people's feeling, people's wishes, people's atmosphere, the environment they're living in. We are going on unknown journey, and we don't know where we are going to end up, who is going to come with you, and what kind of experience you had. You are on your own journey. No matter how much people try to help you, how much people around you think, and you have a total trust on you still. You are on your own journey.
Dave has met many challenges in her journey, but through her talent and persistence, she has influenced a generation of students and left a mark in the community she now calls home.
It's a wonderful thing to go back and see that where you were and what you are becoming today, and what was your journey of life.
Now, let's take a look at some of Louisiana's arts and cultural events coming up this week. For more information on these events, visit the website at lpb.org/artrocks. And to find more arts activities, check out countryroadsmag.com. After decades of searching for the perfect instrument, musician Jason Harrelson took matters into his own hands, literally. In designing and building his own trumpets, Harrelson has found he can create a more personal sound.
My best friend, his name was Dave, and Dave was interested in playing my horn because it was a Bach Stradivarius. It was the same model as his horn, but mine was 30 or 35 years old, and his was brand new. So we swapped horns. I couldn't believe how well that horn played compared to mine because they were the exact same model. He gave me my horn back and he said, "Man, your horn plays terrible." That's really what got me started thinking about the physics of how trumpets are designed. I really wanted to understand why these two instruments would play so different. The transition from playing on that old trumpet to where I am today really came from experiments. I took trumpets apart and then I saw how they were put together, and I measured all the components as detailed as I could. The artistic side of building trumpet really comes down to really understanding how to do metal work, forming and fabrication with your hands, as well as machining, because on my side of things, I machine a lot of the parts, and then incorporating the final hand touches and all the artistic things within that.
I've gone through so many trumpets in my time over the last 20-some years, and I haven't really found the right horn. I mean, there was always something a little off about each one that I would have. And then the more I started to listen and to think about music on a more professional level, I started to think about my sound and how I wanted to be different.
Joshua, when he contacted me to have a trumpet built, he was looking for a specific type of sound, and for his music, he wanted something that really has a vocal type sound. So I built his trumpet to sound more like a beautiful, big, dark voice.
Over the next 6 months, we did a lot of coordinating as far as how I wanted to be built, and he gave me a lot of perspective because he has a very scientific and engineering point of view, as well as an amazing horn player too, so he's like the package deal.
Where science meets sound has kind of been our tagline for years, and we have a different approach to designing brass instruments, and that's really incorporating acoustics and modern technology into the design and building of trumpets.
When he was building my trumpet, he came up with a combination of two different, a lead pipe and a bell, that when you put them together, they sound really, really dark. And when I played the horn, I thought, gosh, this almost sounds like a tuba, like a small tuba. And it was perfect. It was the perfect instrument. When you play trumpet, the most important thing is the sound. It kind of goes back to just being human. Like when my mom would call me for breakfast, I can hear her sound, like her tone. And so I think about that with the trumpet is when I play, how are people going to remember that versus how many notes did I play or how high did I play? It's more or less remembering the sound. I think traditionally in the past, trumpets are always known as this really high-pitched, loud, blaring instrument that can almost sound like tin foil. The horn itself, the way he built it, actually really supports the darker end of the spectrum. I said, give me the darkest you got, and I'll take it.
There are actually 81 pieces in the simplest trumpet that I build. So I fabricate and build almost every single piece. The magic really happens when we put all these parts together and find that everything fits perfect, and then I can put it in the soldering booth. And then the rest is soldering and cleaning it up. When it's all finished and I finally get to play it and test it out, yeah, it's a great feeling because so much time and energy has been put into building that one horn. Every one of them is different, so it's a lot of fun.
This horn particularly supports that individualism. And I think it really comes from his craftsmanship as well, that he's able to really listen to what the player wants. And him being a player as well, it's so easy for him to connect with the idea. His connection to the instrument itself makes it easy for him to understand me.
For me, playing trumpet, there's more of a connection there. When I perform like that, then I can express whatever's happening. So if I'm frustrated about something or really excited, I can just let all that out. And for me, it's just a personal experience. I think art is really nothing more than an expression of really what you're feeling and thinking and what you want to bring into the world.
Art is, I believe, the human voice or the human eye, or it embodies all the senses. And I think that that's what's beautiful about art, is that it's the true reflection. It's the true history book.
I probably play about 2 hours a day, and I probably play in 15 to 30-minute sessions just in between building trumpets. So it's a great feeling, and I would encourage anyone to take up music.
For more information, visit harrelsontrumpets.com. Coming up next, a Houston-based architect draws inspiration from older home designs while building on the concepts of affordability and functionality. The result? Modest contemporary masterpieces that fit into small neighborhood lots. Let's take a look.
The whole concept of the kit homes stems from designing a well-designed house that has kind of concept of affordability adapted into it. And I think a lot of it has to do with the roots of the old Sears Roebuck bungalows, which were manufactured by components brought to the site by the train. Everything was shipped to site and built right on site, and it's no different from what these kid homes are. What I've tried to do is to kind of create a set of homes that are similar in style, that are traditional in form. They have more of a modern feel and a modern look to them that fits well in some of these older communities, and also utilizes standard building sizes. So when it's built, there's very little waste, and which helps reduce cost. We have several models which kind of allow us to do a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom. So we've got a multitude of designs that will kind of work for different sites and different types of family sizes. This house is called the Shot Trot. It's 16 feet wide with these little pop-outs, very narrow, incredibly long. It's 80 feet deep with a front and a back porch, and it's built in one of Houston's older neighborhoods. The name Shot Trot comes from the two vernacular homes, the Shotgun and the Dog Trot House. Both of them have Texas roots. Shotgun homes actually are all through the United States. You have an entry at the front and an exit on the back, very narrow, very long. The Dog Trot is open in the center of the house that allows airflow through the center of it. So it's really about these cross ventilations and air movement. These concepts were designed when there was no air conditioning. It is modern on the inside, but it's also modern in the space planning. The idea for these homes are to be very open, very flexible, incredibly functional. They're very modest. The Shot Trot house is only 1,200 square feet, but it feels much larger. And the other thing that's important is that, the idea of being able to open the interior to the exterior. So this whole notion of what is interior and exterior are blended, and you could really kind of bring in the outside to the inside. The 16th wide is a very narrow house, and you have to figure out ways of bringing in the proper natural light, vaulting the space to open it up, make it feel a lot larger than it really is. And you do see that. The one thing that my clients who actually build these homes, they realize that you don't need a 3,000 square foot house. They're incredibly energy efficient. They're smart homes. I use metal roofs on every one of them. We try to use recycled materials on the inside. And we really think about what's being put inside and also, of course, allow the client to make their choices. People love them. They love the space. They feel like it's a vacation house, like it's something that they're very relaxed in the space. Houston was great for me, and it still is, because I'm here and we were able to build the first few here. We've just built one out in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We just built one out in Wimberley, Texas, in the Hill Country. One was built out in Biloxi, Mississippi, through a nonprofit organization that helped with the redevelopment after Katrina. I think we've got it drawn as 2x10s. I've got a small operation. I think everyone wants to expand, and I'd like to have an empire of these kid homes, but the reality is I'm still learning from them, and they're getting better and better as they're getting built.
To learn more, visit brettzamoredesign.com. Now, let's take a moment to celebrate another Louisiana treasure. This week, we'll focus on the legend of Evangeline.
The epic poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow was published in 1847, some 90 years after the expulsion of the Acadians from Nova Scotia. Evangeline, a tale of Acadie, follows the tragic story of the heroine and her betrothed, Gabriel, separated from each other in the tumult of the Grand Arrangement. Later works of fiction expanded on the poem, claiming to identify the original Evangeline and Gabriel, and more than one Cajun family has claimed one or the other character as an ancestor. But as historian Carl Brasso noted, there's no evidence to substantiate the claims. But even as a work of fiction, the poem had a powerful impact in defining both Acadian history and identity in the 19th century. Today, evidenced through art and music, the legend of Evangeline remains a vital part of the culture of Cajun Louisiana.
On any given afternoon, you can find photographer Craig Royal perched over the railing beneath his favourite bridge. By snapping photos of rippling water, Royal says he has liberated himself from the constriction of his visual impairment and found a new way to look at light.
I have optic nerve damage, or optic atrophy, it's also called. I've had it since birth. My left eye is corrected to 2350 and my right eye is corrected to 2450, which averages out to 2400, which means I can barely see the top of the eye chart. My central vision is a white blind spot. The blurred peripheral vision has an impressionist quality about it, like impressionist painting. I don't see a lot of detail. In particular, my visual impairment abstracts are specifically about my visual impairment, my blurred vision, and the blind spot that I see. It just resonates. I was surprised to find this piece of wood floating inside a reflection when I got the image uploaded to the computer. And the reflections interacted like they'll touch it like delicately, and they'll move back and they'll touch it in different areas. It's really an interesting interaction between light and form. I enjoy the immediacy of photography so much, and the ability to use a camera as a paintbrush to create abstract art. It's just liberating for me in terms of being creative. It's just been wonderful.
To see more, visit craigroyal.zenfolio.com. And that's it for this edition of Art Rocks. Don't forget to visit us online at lpb.org/artrocks. Our website offers feature videos and information on upcoming arts events. So until next time, I'm James Fox-Smith, and thanks for watching.